changes versus chemical changes. And an example of a physical change would be water as a liquid, if that's its state property, and then it goes from liquid to a gas, which means that it's not actually changing its chemical property, it's just moving from a liquid to a gas. So it's going from H2O liquid to H2O gas. And the example of I have here of a chemical change is iron, which would be a nail, and if it's left out in rain or it binds with oxygen to form iron oxide, which is rust. So this is also it changes the appearance and the chemical what is it called? The chemical composition, whereas the H2O molecules don't change any composition at all. So, in our experiment today, we're going to be showing a physical change in the substance. Another example of a physical change is the CO2 in dry ice is a solid, but left out at a room temperature, it can turn to a gas. In our experiment today, we're going to be using Mentos candy and Diet Coke to change the CO2 in the Diet Coke from a liquid form into a gas form. Here's our experiment on a smaller scale to show you the reaction happening. So, got a little bit of Diet Coke. Then you add the Mentos. And you can see the reaction. Okay. Alright, go. Here's our experiment on a much larger scale. Here you go. Alright, so you may be wondering what happened in our experiment with the Mentos and Diet Coke. So these are just the few ingredients in Diet Coke, which is caffeine, potassium benzoate, and aspartame, and CO2 gas, which is the most important part of our experiment. And then the Mentos has gelatin and the gum arabic. This is the candy coating on the outside of the Mentos, and it breaks the surface tension between the water and the carbon dioxide inside the soda, which creates, which makes the CO2 attached to the Mentos easier. Right here I have a picture of the Mentos. These little pits right here are called the nucleation sites, and this is what the CO2 likes to attach to. Now because the Mentos is heavy and it wants to sink to the bottom of the soda pop, so as it's sinking, more CO2 is attaching itself to the Mentos, which means it's creating more bubbles, and because it's creating that disruption in the surface tension, the CO2 gas wants to explode like the geyser we saw. So this is not a physical change, or it's not a chemical change, because the CO2 isn't actually changing its chemical composition by attaching itself to the Mentos. It's only changing physical change. So it's going from soda pop to Great Geyser.